ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः। Hari Om, salutations to all. So we were seeing the Shiva Panchakshara Stotram, Na, Ma, Shi, three alphabets associated with that. We saw various aspects of Bhagavan. Today we see Va and Ya. So Vasishtha Kumbodh Bhava Gautam Arya Munindra Devarchita Shekharaya. One who is worshipped by Vasishtha Rishi, Agastya Rishi is Vasishtha and Agastya both are born from a pot. Kumbhodbhava, that's why it is said. So there's one story where it is said that looking at the beauty of the celestial nymph or an apsara, Urvashi, the seed of Mitra and Varuna was released and that was preserved in a pot, and then from there Vasishtha and Agastya are born. Vasishtha Maharshi, a great rishi, one of the Sapta rishis, and he is the Kula Guru of the entire Ikshvaku Vamsha. So Vasishtha, then Gautam Rishi, Agastya Rishi. Agastya Rishi, again a very great rishi. Bhagwan Ram himself learnt from Agastya Rishi, and the Aditya Hridayam was taught to him. He is the one who has crossed Vindhyachal from the north and went to the south and stopped the growth of the Vindhyachal mountains. Then we have Gautam Rishi, again one of the Sapta Rishis, more famous for the Ahalya, so as the husband of Ahalya. Vasishtha Kumbhodh Bhava Gautam Arya Munindra. Bhagwan is worshipped by all these great rishis. He is worshipped by Indra and Devatas, many Devatas. Munindra Devarchita Shekharaya. Chandrarka Vaishvanara Lochanaya, whose eyes are not ordinary eyes, whose eyes are, Bhagwan's right eye is the sun, Arka here. Left eye is the moon, Chandra, and Vaishvanara is the third eye, the eye of intuition. Elsewhere in 108 names it is said Soma Suryagni Lochanaha. So Soma is the moon, Surya is the sun, and Agni is the fire. So different ways this is explained. One is to understand that these are the main sources of illumination in the world. Sun, moon and the star, sun, moon and the fire. You may say the electricity is also there, Swamiji. Nowadays we have to add that also. But that electricity comes because of sun. Without the sun, the evaporation doesn't happen, the waters will not go up, condensation, all that, the rains, then the rivers flow, then we are generating, or even solar energy, whatever you say. Vayu also is Bhagwan's glory only. So, anyway, three main sources of illumination: sun, moon, and the fire. So, Bhagwan is the light in this entire universe. He illumines the entire universe literally also. One is as consciousness, the substratum, but other is literally illumination in the world also happens by Bhagwan's grace. Second is to understand that Bhagwan's form itself is not like our form. We may think like that because that's our limitation of thinking. Bhagwan's form is not this flesh and bones and blood and marrow and all that. Some, for the sake of Leela, one says one does a few things, but otherwise Bhagwan's form is only pure consciousness. And so the sun is his eye, moon is his eye, fire is his eye. You will see another shloka which will come next one, Jatadharaya. So when we see this, all this is appearance of consciousness alone. Sun, moon, stars, light, lightning, fire, all these, for us it looks very tangible and solid. For that matter, everything looks like that for us. This thermos, this computer, everything looks solid. Because the limitation of our senses, our eyes can't see beyond a particular range. And definitely it can't penetrate deep into something which is, if you take a microscope, or how much you can magnify, that our eyes don't have that much capacity. But if you actually go using those tools, then one will see that all this is vibration. It is not something solid. Science also interestingly says 99.9999, 13 nines are there in that, of an atom is empty. 0.00000001% is matter. Rest is all empty, is not there, nothing is there inside. Very interesting. When this whole play is one tamasha happening of that 0.00 up to 12 decimals and 1. That's why our great masters, they call this as illusory only. And inside every atom is that energy which is there. If you read Tao of Physics, Fridge of Capra, he will say that that energy is depicted as Nataraja. That is the dynamism, that energy that keeps this creation going. In CERN in Switzerland, they have kept the statue of Nataraja outside. Outside meaning as you enter CERN, the first thing you see is, one of the first things you see is that statue. So Bhagwan is that pure consciousness appearing in all these forms. So we say sun, moon, stars, and the fire and lightning and all sources of illumination, they are nothing but consciousness, which is Shiva. Then it also means that it is Bhagwan's form is a Vishwarupa. So the sun is his eye, moon is his eye, fire is his eye. Bhagwan sees, like the other day we saw the video, Gurudev said that the two eyes are there with everybody. We see with two eyes the gross tangible form. But the third eye is the eye of understanding, of intuition. That requires knowledge, expertise, that purity, sadhana, many things. So, these three eyes of Bhagwan, they also have indicative meanings. That each of the three eyes of Bhagwan are the sun and the moon and the fire. So the whole world is the form of Bhagavan. Jatadharaya, when it comes, you will see in the next name. Jatadhara is the next shloka. Long jatas Bhagavan has. So it is said that all the rivers are the jata of Bhagavan, and the mountain, the source of the river. So mountain and the rivers are the jata of Bhagavan. Sun, moon, fire, they are his eyes. Like that, Vishwarupa Bhagavan is said. So the whole form of Bhagavan Shiva we see is none other than this world also. So one worships Bhagavan in a specific form, one worships Bhagavan as the whole creation. So every time one looks at the sun, in the Upanishad it is called Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi. Pratyaksha Brahma it is. Manifest as the source of illumination, light, life, energy, everything comes from the sun. That is Bhagavan. Adhyatmically, if we see Soma Surya Agni Lochana means sun is the presiding deity of our buddhi. Moon is the presiding deity of our mind. So sun and the moon. Bhagavan is the presiding deity of the sun and the moon, and that is the vision that we must have, a balanced vision of head and heart. If we are only head oriented, no feeling at all, joy of life, love in life, many things we miss out. We are only very sentimental and emotional, our rationality we don't use. We become too sensitive, we get hurt, many insecurities happen, we may take wrong decisions. So balance of head and heart very important. We live with such a balance with the right vision, the intuition will open up. The deeper insights will come. One will live life anchored within. So sun, moon and stars, the sun, moon and the fire are the three eyes of Bhagavan. Chandrarka Vaishvanara Lochanaya Tasmai Vakaraya Namah Shivaya. Vakara. Bhagavan appears as a Vakara. Yaksha Swarupaya Jatadharaya. Yaksha Swarupa, Bhagavan appeared as a divine being, a Yaksha. So this has a reference to the Upanishadic story in Kenopanishad where the Devatas, they won a victory over the Asuras because of the grace of Bhagavan. Most of the time the Devatas keep getting defeated and then they go to Bhagavan and they seek his guidance and his grace and Bhagavan helps them and then with the help of Bhagavan they won a victory over the Asuras. And then they are having one celebration party. All Devatas are rejoicing and they forgot Bhagavan. That is one aspect, but they started becoming arrogant, saying we are the greatest and we have won over the Asuras, and they forgot that they had got defeated earlier. They forgot Bhagavan's grace, that humility went, arrogance came. And Bhagavan said this arrogance is not good for them. So out of compassion, he himself went to teach a lesson. And in the court of Indra, suddenly the Yaksha appears, a divine being, and nobody has seen that type of a manifestation. So they didn't know who it is. And everybody is stunned. So Indra, he sends Vayu Devata first. And he says, you find out who is he. So Vayu goes and he sees. So he says, I am Vayu. Because of me there is life. I can do so many things. Nothing can stand in front of me. Everything can be blown away. And yeah, be very proud. So Yaksha says, okay, try and blow out this blade of grass. And Vayu tries his best, but he can't even move that blade of grass. Then Bhagwan sends Indra, Agni. Actually, first Agni goes, then Vayu comes. So Agni is sent, Agni Dev. He goes and he says, I am Jata Veda, I am Agni, I am knower of everything, and I can burn anything to ashes. Yaksha produces that blade of grass and says, you burn this. He tries his best, nothing happens. He can't even burn even a bit of it. Now Indra wonders, Agni and Vayu, both of them have failed. There is something else going on here. And he goes there with utter humility and he says, he doesn't introduce himself, I am Indra, the king of Devatas, all that, nothing. He goes with utter humility, with folded hands, he says, who are you? Yaksha disappears. And in his place, there is this beautiful woman who manifests. She's called Uma Haimavati. And Indra is stunned. And Indra asks Uma that who was that divine being who came. And Uma explains then that that was Bhagwan himself, because you forgot the supreme and became so arrogant that you are doing everything by yourself. He came here out of compassion to teach you, because the higher we are in life, the greater position we have, the greater power we have, the more humble we have to be, because the fall from there is very painful. And also, if the great people live in that way, which is having that humility and being aware of what happens is through Bhagwan, that is the role model for everybody else also. And the maximum knowledge one can gain, love one can experience and express, work together with people, all that can happen only when there is humility. If there is ego, arrogance, pride, all that makes a person insecure. So through this Leela, Bhagwan makes the Devatas humble again, makes them remember that all their powers are because of Bhagwan's grace, and every victory, every action what they do is also because of the grace of the Lord. So Yaksha Swarupaya, one who humbles our pride completely, who keeps reminding us out of compassion to be anchored in humility. Yaksha Swarupaya Jatadharaya. Long Jata of Bhagwan is a symbol of penance and no body identification. So when one does lot of tapasya for days on end, one doesn't have time. So one has long jata, meaning the hair keeps growing anyway. The nails, the hair, they will keep growing. One is sitting in contemplation for days together. Jatas will grow. Bhagwan is not growing jata out of some fashion or any such thing. The jata is symbol of his tapasya, for he is absorbed in the self for many, many days, months, years pass. So one is that. Second, I told you Jata Bhagwan in the Vishwarupa is lot of all the rivers and the mountain, the source of rivers. Yajna Swarupaya, Yaksha Swarupaya, Jatadharaya. So there is one other version which says Yajna Swarupaya, Jatadharaya. So Bhagwan is Yajna Swarup. Yajna is the oblations that we offer in the fire and invoke the Devatas, and Devatas bless us. So in the Veda it is said Yajna by Vishnu. Vishnu is Yajna. Here it is said Shivji himself is Yajna. Both are one, Vishnu and Shivji. So this entire world is sustained by Yajna. Gurudev used to say Yajna is the spirit of cooperative endeavor for a selfless common goal, where one offers oneself, gives one's best, collectively, individually, for the common good. And everything in this creation is like that. It serves and it works as one unit. It does not think for itself alone. Rivers don't flow for themselves, trees don't bear fruits for themselves, cows don't give milk for themselves. And this body also is not meant for ourselves. It is meant to serve. So that bhavana of seva, that bhavana of coming together is yajna. Bhagwan is that yajna swarupa. Yajna swarupaya jatadharaya. Bhagwan has long jatas, tapasya, penance. Outside when we see how much we pollute our rivers and even destroy them, Bhagwan jata is so beautiful and we are spoiling it all. Yajna swarupaya, yaksha swarupaya, jatadharaya. Pinaka hastaya, one whose hand has a pinaka. So the bow of Bhagwan is called Pinaka. So one of his name is Pinaki. Acha, Bhagwan is a bow also. I thought you always has only Trishul. Definitely he has a Trishul. But the bow also is there with Bhagwan. He has an axe also. Parashu Hastastra is another name of Bhagwan Shiva. So the bow, he has a special bow that is called Pinaki. And with that he destroyed this Tripurasura with one arrow. That's a whole different story. But three cities have to align. The demon is in the form of three cities. And those three have to align, which will happen once in 1,000 years only. And this demon Tripurasura was creating difficulties. Bhagwan had to destroy him, wait for the time when all the three will align, and he hit the arrow, all of them, so that Tripurasura was killed. Waking, dream, and deep sleep, in these three, or body, mind, intellect, or sattva, rajas, tamas, in this our ego roams. And so much one goes through because of that. With the steady mind contemplating on the self, one can destroy this false identification. So that bow is a steady mind and the arrow is of contemplation, the pointers of the truth. So our mind is the bow of Bhagwan in that sense. If subjectively we take an example. Objectively, of course, Bhagwan has a bow and then the Leela is Tripurasura. Vada happens and the Tripura Rahasya is one composition and Tripurasura is killed. So, Pinaka Hastaya Sanatanaya, who is eternal, who is beyond time. Divyaya Devaya Digambaraya, who is divine, Divya, who is the Deva, who is the illumining factor, because of which the senses can perceive, mind can feel, intellect can think, the whole world exists. Divyaya Devaya, and he only appears as many devatas also. Digambaraya, for whom the space are the clothes, who has no body identification. Yeah. To that Lord who is Yakaraya Namo Namaha. Salutations to Bhagwan who is in the form of Yakara. Now, one is to meditate on all these aspects, the Leela and the form of Bhagwan. Other is the mantra itself. As one chants, does the japa, one can visualize the alphabets of the mantra itself. Namah Shivaya. Every time one says Namah Shivaya, one visualizes that Namah Shivaya. Nama Visarga Shivaya. So that is another form of visualization one does, and the sound one hears. So from the Sagun Sakara Roop, one will come to the sound manifestation of Bhagavan. Now the Brahma is Omkar, Just suggest that just as we just pay attention to the sound of Om as we chant, that we pay attention to Namah Shivaya and lift our mind to the state of consciousness. If we are not able to keep the mind there, then visualize Namah Shivaya or visualize still further the form of Bhagwan. So each one goes subtler than the previous one. So today this is what we will meditate upon.